साम टीवी प्रेजेंट्स आईपीएल स्पेशल क्रिकेट प्रेडिक्टर पावर्ड बाय 1x बैट में आपका स्वागत है। आज का मैच होने वाला है गुजरात टाइटंस वर्सेस चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स के बीच में, जो होगा नरेंद्र मोदी स्टेडियम अहमदाबाद, one of the largest stadium in the world with a seating capacity of almost 1,32,000 people। बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग मैच है क्योंकि सीएसके अभी जीते हैं लास्ट मैच पीबीएसके के खिलाफ, तो उस पर भी डिस्कशन करेंगे आज के इस पूरे वीडियो में। शुभमन गिल और ऋतुराज गायकवाड के कैप्टनसी में ये मैच होने वाला है और हमारे साथ दोनों एक्सपर्ट्स यहाँ स्टूडियो पे मौजूद है, जिनका मैं स्वागत करना चाहूंगी। सबसे पहले नॉयल डेविड, फॉर्मर इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेटर इंडिया, मैं उनका स्वागत करना चाहूंगी आज के इस प्रोग्राम में।
थैंक यू दामनी।
और साथ ही टाटिंडा जियाम्बे, स्पोर्ट्स एनालिस्ट जिम्बाब्वे से, उनका भी मैं स्वागत करना चाहूंगी। वेलकम जेंटलमैन टू दिस प्रोग्राम।
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Welcome. Let's start with CSK. They won the match, the previous match. How do you feel about this whole team? They have moved further towards IPL winning section. They are in the top playing game. So what do you think about this team?
Go on, Ted. You can answer it, and then I'll flare it up.
Okay, that's fine. So I think what we've seen with CSK, it's adapt, improvise, overcome. You would have noticed at the beginning, they've lost a big part of their offense. That's Devon Conway, a great batsman, really helped them win a title. He goes out injured. And they've had to, reshuffle their squads a number of times. And for all of the reshuffling, they're still there and thereabouts. Obviously, you've got there was a great result. It keeps them in the contention for a playoff spot, and then of course it's now really literally going to have to be up to them, depending on how Sunrisers then do in the coming days. Obviously, because we're this close to finishing the season, it's going to be very tight. So CSK they'll take that victory any way that they can, because at this point of the season, it's not about how you win; it's just about winning. And I think that's probably what is keeping them going. So great results. I think you'll see top to bottom, especially leading on from the captain Gaikwad. He's had a very good second half of the season so far now. He's really now starting to show forward, even putting his hand up in the orange cap discussion. So they've got lots that are going for them. It's now just depends on how matchups go, but they just need to win their games and hopefully they'll make it in the top four.
No.
Yeah, what I feel is that CSK has, taken a sweet revenge. They lost against Punjab in their own ground, and beating Punjab at their own ground. I think it's a sweet revenge taken. And overall, I think CSK cannot be kept quiet. They bounce like a bunch of balls. If someone doesn't perform, there is someone else puts their hands up and they perform. If you see Jadeja, the little knock what he has played, cameo knock, it just came at correct time for CSK because they were struggling at one stage, and then Jadeja comes in and plays that cameo of a knock, and that's what CSK is made of. Yes, the initial start was bad for them yesterday, and I feel that they could have done better because the wicket was not such this thing where it was unplayable. The two wickets early wickets which fell, Char taking in an over, I think that was a setback a bit. But then again, we say the King Jadeja always comes in play, and he has performed to what the CSK needed. They bowled well, they fielded well. The mastermind behind the stumps, he has done his work, as what he used to. And I feel that it was an overall performance by CSK. And I am happy that from the 5th place, they jumped to the 3rd place. So I think it's a lot of work for SRH and GT and all these guys to, flare up their next matches so that they can, keep in competition for the IPL.
Gentlemen, let's talk about Kane Williamson also. He has only played like 2 games for GT. Is it time for him to put the back into the starting lineup? What do you think about Kane Williamson here?
I feel
if I could go first.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Me personally, I think it would have been about time to have tried that out maybe about 2 games ago when it actually would have mattered. Yes, the when he did play, he didn't actually contribute positively, and I can understand perhaps the reasoning why he was then dropped, and they were trying to try out some of the younger guys. But I don't know. At this point, it's almost too little, too late. There's not much for Gujarat to play for. I think at this point of the season, considering the way results have gone.
Yes.
I would have done it maybe 2 games earlier. It's try and see if that could have done. Because look, you look at the likes of Besto and players of that nature. They started off a bit poorly. They had some good games. You might have wanted to try to get some of that with Kane Williamson, but in my opinion, too little, too late. If they were to try him now, I guess at this point it's just now trying to get maybe more positive results so that the season isn't. They're not competing perhaps with Mumbai and those and for the wooden
Hmm.
spoon for bottom of the table. That was just my that's just my assessment of it. They should have played him a little earlier than what they waited to do for now.
No, do you want to add something to this?
Of
That's has
course,
already mentioned a lot of points here, but let's take
yeah,
your intake
because
on this.
it's a good question to debate. If I
Yes.
was to ask them, I would ask them why is he not playing from the ball one, from the
Hmm.
game number one? Why is he not being in the 11? Because he is a performer. He has performed so well throughout his IPL career. When he was the captain of Sunrisers, he's been at the topmost level of his game. And why is he not playing? He should have been a part of the setup of the in the 11 of the Gujarat Titans because he would have been a backbone in the batting area of Gujarat.
Hmm.
And I think that's a sad story. And as it's late now. By that time, you can realize things are getting over. IPL is coming to an end, and I think Gujarat will find it difficult. I think he should have been there for me. He should have been there because Kane is known for his heroics. He is known for his batting. He is known for his mind. He has a mastermind of the strategies he plays. He's been captain for the New Zealand, so he knows well how to handle pressure. I think he would have been a great asset as a non-playing captain to Shubham Gill. I think he could have helped him during that phase, and Shubham could have learnt a lot from Kane Williamson.
Yes, and he's a well polished player as well. So, gentlemen, here let's talk about CSK because they have been winning and they have proved their credibility. They have played really well. They have been winning a lot of games now. But where does Gujarat have the advantage over CSK? What do you think about it? Did you want to go first?
Okay. I think perhaps where Gujarat perhaps have that advantage. I think
Hmm.
initially, where especially in the power play, where because I think now their form has just been really poor, but power play was where Gujarat had their strength really. I think with Shubman Gill,
Hmm.
partnering even whether it's with Saha, um, them getting those that partnership going was basically where they had their bread and butter, and that usually would have led to the uh, basis for the rest of their innings. If you look at it now, just on an overall perspective, just an overall batting perspective,
Hmm.
in the middle overs, that's overs 7 to 14, Gujarat second to last. The final overs, that's 15 to 20, Gujarat bottom. So they're failing to get runs on the board now. So if I was looking at it, um, they just need to get their power play sorted. If they can at least just start try and get a decent partnership going, but over and above that, it's gonna be very difficult against CSK. And this isn't an invincible CSK team, mind you. We look at Rajasthan, we look at Kolkata, who maybe are a bit more of the two of the more well-rounded teams. For CSK, you know if you can kind of get at Gaikwad early on in the innings. Yes, Dube and some guys a little lower down the order might come in and get runs for you. But if you disrupt them early, that's perhaps the best way to beat CSK. But in order for you to capitalize on that, you're also going to now need to put runs on the board. So early wickets and trying to sort out their power play, that would be the issue. We spoke about Kane Williamson just now. Does Kane Williamson come back? Can he help? Because they just can't get runs on the board at whatever level. It's hard to tell. But maybe you roll the dice, maybe you bring that out, but I don't know. They seem to be sticking to their guns and trying to stick it out with this opening partnership of Shubman, Gill, and Saha. Whether or not they can at least capitalize on that is now just going to have to be remains to be seen on the day because you just no longer know Gujarat.
Yes. Noel, with this, I want to take your attention towards Ravindra Jadeja here. He was promoted to number 4 earlier this season, but has been pushed back down to the lower order. Has this season been in a positive side or a negative side for him when it comes to the performance standpoint? What do you think about it?
I think Jad is free. Wherever he can play, he plays his role. Whatever role is given to him, whether it's number 4 or number 6 or number 7, he plays it very well. I think it has been told to him, from the day one of the IPL this year. I think the management, the coaching staff, Dhoni himself must have spoken to him and said, "Keep yourself free. You can bat at any order, and you need to get it right and perform for CSK." I think it has been clearly written and told to him. I think that's why he's been drafted up and down the order. And I think Jaddu doesn't mind all this because he's been a heroic himself. He's been last year, if you see, he won it single. The last thing IPL, he's won it for CSK. He has won matches for the country. So I don't think he takes all this into his stride and he just moves on with the game. So I think it's a great to keep him free whenever he's needed. We will push it. It's like they gave a role to Dubey himself. They said once the power play is finished, you're going into bat. So the role is clearly mentioned to each place there. I think in CSK, and I feel that that's how the management has to be said to the players that this is the role you need to play and you need to deliver it.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now let's look at another CSK player. If we talk about the captain himself, Ruturaj, he has snubbed for India's T20 World Cup squad. So, what do you think that makes his performance so far for this season? What do you think? He has been performing really well, but what are your intakes on this?
Well, I
Okay.
find yeah. You go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I think it took a bit of time, and I think in terms of the World Cup snub, and I think we may have discussed this on another show before, but it's very tough to make it into the Indian squad. So if you don't make it and you're a player of his caliber, well, look to your left, you've got KL Rahul, uh, and look to your right, you've got someone like Shubman Gill, who, despite his poor form, was also someone who's capable of doing those things. So to his credit, he hasn't let that really affect him, and I think he's now pushed on from strength to strength. I think maybe the only thing we might say, and this is not a knock on him, he just can't seem to win the toss as much as as much as other captains in the league. So that's just literally a roll of the dice. But he's done well. He's been more assured in his performances, and I think maybe one of the things I could say it's a very mature and it's a very understanding performance that he's been putting in over the last few games. I think especially when you're opening, you need to try and set the tone. CSK, they usually do take a little to get going in the power play before they start accelerating a little bit from about the fourth or the fifth over. But regardless of that, he's been a key component of getting a good base for their innings. And you can't knock him for not making Team India. It's always going to be tough competition, considering you've got Kohli, you've got Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
You could literally say all of the names. So not a bad performance. He's great response from him, and he's just doing what a captain does, and he's just trying to go out there and win games. Which, like I said, very mature, very measured, especially for being such a young captain.
Yes. Noel, you want to add something to this?
I feel, yeah, of course, I feel Ruturaj is under the shadow of MS Dhoni. I know he's playing a new role as the captain of the CSK, and he's a cool-minded guy like MS Dhoni. I think all this doesn't will not matter to him, though he's performing really well for CSK. I think the time will come where his name will be written in the team squad, and I think this is there's a lot of future for him ahead, Rutraj. And if you see him, the way he bats, the way he takes his team along with him, and he himself is a youngster himself. He goes along with the seniors. So I find that Ruturaj is a package of all what MS Dhoni is a bit, and I find that he'll be a plus point in the new future for Indian cricket, and I hope he gets the nod uh, when they tour. I think they are touring Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken. I think Rutraj will be there in that second squad, and I find that he'll be an asset to the Indian team in the near future. We can only wish him all the best. All this happens because it's a graph. Every cricketer has a graph. Ups and downs are there. If you're not there in the team, you take it up a stride, move on, perform, keep performing until the doors keep opening for you. That's all I can say, and advice for that youngster.
Right. Thank you,
And
gentlemen, for
just
sharing
to
all the
add to
insights.
that,
Yes, kids, please.
and just to add to that, it looks like he's going to be another one of the great Indian players who goes on a tour of Zimbabwe and really starts his international career. We're used to seeing Indian batsmen coming over here and knocking us around for lots of runs. So uh, I won't mind seeing it, but I just know it's going to happen. I've seen it before too many times.
You winded the program really well. Thank you, Tits, for sharing this section and the end part. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for sharing all the insights on this match, which is going to happen between Gujarat Titans versus Chennai Super Kings. Let's see who's going to win today. Shubman Gill or Ruturaj captaincies, who going to take the game forward and make a difference today. देखिए ये क्रिकेट है जनाब, यहाँ पर कुछ भी हो सकता है हर ओवर में. तो उम्मीद करते हैं कि आज का गेम गुजरात टाइटंस या चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स के बीच जो हो रहा है वो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग रहा है. With this, I want to wind the program. Thank you, gentlemen, Noel David and Tatin Dad Semyambe. Thank you for being a part of this program.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you for having me.